pretty sure Kelvin does too, with all that mastery of bullshit that he has down there for sound and music and everything else that he does, which is so fun and fucking exciting. But
everything was working.
I don't know if he's actually going to record anything himself, or if he just jumped on and was like, "I made it."
Yep.
I'm going to try something. Let's see if this works.
It's
okay,
wonderful. So we have the guest, but also Kelvin. We get to have you with us.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's here.
That's
I know,
so cool.
but let's not talk yet. Because I want to try this. I want to see if this works. Okay, watch this. Watch this.
Welcome to Around the Reel with your hosts, Aaron Carlson, Charles Lawson, and Steve Eaton. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
Well, how about that?
How
You spelled
about
October wrong.
I did.
I'm kidding. We've just been proofing so much stuff lately. I'm just like,
No, you're probably. I was like, yeah, I probably fucking did. I always do something wrong. Yeah, even
you're-
Steve did that with his fucking middle name the other day on the poster. I'm like,
Oh yeah. I misspelled both my middle name and my son's name on a poster.
Well, you are missing something on that intro.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm sorry, Kelvin. I know. Because we didn't know for sure if you would do this consistently or just want to be a guest host, or show up.
Yeah.
And then when the conversation happened, we
Because
now
you're
have...
one of us. But
Yeah, Kelvin is here. This is a CCC thing, right?
you're one of us, and you're here, so you're here of us. I got nothing.
It's good enough. It's good
keep
enough.
workshopping it, Chuck.
Well, yeah, Kelvin, since you're with us today, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself too to the audience so everybody knows who the fuck they're listening to.
All right. Well, I am Kelvin. I am the music dude for CCC. So, most of the music you'll hear and you heard on the Hunt movie, it's mine. So here I am.
And the Outrider.
And the Outrider and a bunch of other stuff I work.
If you do a couple of good things, we just never let you go. That's right. Ever.
We don't.
The boxes in the basement are growing, and the occupants are almost happy or conditioned.
You never know.
You never know. Kelvin, I'm so glad you joined us, dude. You've
Thank
been
you for
a part,
having me.
Absolutely, man. You've been a part of what we've been doing since we started trying to take it seriously, And it was because of you that we did take it seriously.
Thank you.
We did. We really did. And I'll never forget that. And that's real shit. That's real shit. So just so you know.
Thank you. Thank you very
So
much.
don't forget that. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
When you're making a movie and then, the guy who composed some stuff for Batman vs. Superman and all these other major fucking blockbuster movies you've seen reaches out to you on fucking Twitter, when it was Twitter, by the way.
Yep.
And says, hey, if you ever need any music help, let me know. That's kind of a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even though I didn't believe you when I first met you. But
Okay,
no.
is this what we really want to talk about for a few minutes?
Sure, please.
Then I'm
go.
also going to be the one who points out the one who believed in us, who could push something to the next level, who believed in what was possible from everybody here so much that he provided us with our first Blackmagic camera to go shoot something real.
Oh, yes, he did.
Kelvin, cheers.
He did.
And we're
got
still
that for us.
contractually obligated to make sure that he has the rights to be able to, have refusal or acceptance of any type of music that we want to do with anything that's shot.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's look at that. Boilerplate's done.
It is a big deal. And the motherfucker bought me a dryer when I didn't have a dryer. So that was another big deal.
Hey, I delivered it. All right.
Yeah, you
Bought it.
did. You did. So badass. Yeah, dude, you've been a part of family. You know that.
Thank you.
You know that.
Thank you.
So,
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you are too. Steve, how the hell are you?
I am moving along with my day. I like him running in the house and like screech to a halt like risky business with my computer and shit. And I was like, so yeah.
Yeah, and the sad part is, it's like normally we start the show around 6:00 on Wednesdays, right? But you can blame our guests for that.
You know what, though?
yeah.
I appreciate it. Honestly, I dig 5 p.m. I'm like, I would rather be running from shit to shit and then get done than, I mean, not that this is to get done. You guys.
No, I get it.
Yeah. I was like, cool, let's make this shit happen.
Yeah, because are you like me? Like when you sit down, it's over. Like it's fucking over. You don't want to do shit anymore. Yeah, okay, I get it.
Let me sit down and finish this show, and then I'll do the dishes tomorrow morning. I still need to do the dishes.
That's
talking to my wife, Charles.
I was speaking only of personal experiences. I'm sorry, Steve. Kyra, he will do the best that he can, and just wait. He'll finish them tomorrow morning. Actually, no, he has to be at work early, so he'll finish them tomorrow afternoon. Kyra, you'd be better off if you just knock out the dishes tonight,
boot me out of
right when
bed.
he goes to bed.
No, this is loud. Yeah.
Chuck, how you doing, man? You
Hey,
good?
I'm doing good.
Good.
It's been a good week. It's halfway through the it's halfway through the week. My week's I don't know. Do you guys when does your week start? Monday or Sunday?
Monday.
It's all a blur for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Steve.
feel like my week really starts on Saturday. Like,
Oh, okay. Well, that's
I'm like, as soon as I don't have to do things for other people, then my week has started. You know?
Okay. Got it. So
That's
you can
actually
call it your week. No, it's not anybody else's week. It's your fucking week.
It's a week beginning, not a
Okay.
week.
so you don't do very good in the beginning. It's kind of weak.
Correct. I'm just barely getting through. Friday is done, and I'm like, oh, good, I can live now.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things. Like, there's so many people who work the 9 to 5s dread, oh my God, my week starts and I go to work. Motherfucker, the week starts on Sunday. Look at a calendar. You start the week with your day off. Shut up and start learning how to enjoy things and stop bitching about everything. That's just me.
I
I agree. I agree with that.
So that
And-
being
and-
said, I'm halfway through this week. It's been a pretty good week.
Okay,
Things
but-
going on, moving forward, everything nice.
I'm
Happy.
glad. I'm
I
glad.
like happy. I like nice. I like it feels good. I'm gonna put it on. Maybe sashay a little bit.
Before we bring in our guests, I just wanted to talk about one thing real quick. And
Oh,
it's
shit.
just like, do you guys ever feel like, and this is for everybody, even our audience that's listening, as a creative person, you know how there's days you wake up and it just feels kind of dead, and there's no excitement like in you, like you don't know anything. Like you'll throw a post up or something, you hope you get engagement, you just get a little bit, and you're just like, oh, this is fucking bullshit. And then there's days you wake up and you grab your phone right away. I'm assuming everybody does that like I am because we're addicted to our phones. And then you look at it and you see like emails that came in, and then like there's like a shit ton of notifications on your phone and all this shit. And then you start looking at it and you start engaging with people, and then you're on Messenger and shit, and then you're starting to respond to people and they're responding back. And then all of a sudden this energy starts going and you start getting excited. Okay, that was today for me. That was today.
Alright.
That's
All right.
why I started posting in our groups right away, and I started reaching out to you guys, and like Universal Opera that Steve's putting together. I was just like, I don't know what it was, but I woke up, I saw that shit, and I ran into a fucking post on Facebook for Fire and Ice, and immediately I'm like, Steve, and I watched it, and I'm like, dude, this is your fucking shit. This is it. That's why I shared that, because that was my morning. I'm drinking coffee, and I saw Fire and Ice, and I was like, dude, Steve.
I know, it was such a nice way to start the day, too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like
Aaron
Christmas
gets
sometimes. Yeah, I get it. Anyway, I didn't know if you guys felt that way ever. Like, there's days where you don't think about it or not. And I know you guys got, like, Chuck and Steve, you guys got day jobs. You can be distracted. You're in your routine. I get it. But, like, I know Kelvin and I have been, like, we're anti-day jobs.
Okay,
So I'm assuming...
I don't want to be left out of the anti-day job group just because I have to go suck the dong
I know.
over in the corporate land.
I get it.
No,
I
I
get
love my boss. If she ever listens to this, I love my boss. But
it. We know you do. She's great, too, by the way. You're lucky.
You're lucky. You have a great boss, and I'm a different cat when it comes to the day job, because I'm doing a day job that's part of one part of my dreams were, because building houses. That's one of the things I've always loved. So it's like, it's kind of different for me as far as like, when everyone's like, oh my God, the day job. It's like, the only time I don't like the day job is when I wake up fucking tired, or if I don't wake up not feeling good. It's just like, oh, I just want an excuse to stay. Wait, sick days. Woohoo!
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But other than that, I am lucky that
You're
my
doing
day
what you
job is
love.
not the tedious, oh my God, fuck you people kind of day job.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Kelvin nailed it. Like, that's it. If you love what you do, it's not really work or a job. You just do it, and I don't give a shit what that is. To me, it's this stuff. Everything else outside of this feels like fucking work, and I don't like that. But this, on the other hand, is completely different. So, yeah. Anyway,
we should ask our guests.
I know, Chuck,
They feel
please.
that way.
would you be so kind to introduce our guest for us today?
I would love to, but for continuity and editing purposes, do you want to fix the screen behind you that keeps shutting down and your round the reel thing keeps going off?
Oh, for fuck's sakes. God damn it. Let me just turn it off.
I know we don't edit the show, but it really is good to point this stuff out because you never know. For those people out there who make movies who want continuity, you got to pay attention to what the fuck's happening in your background.
I didn't update the TV. It's been asking me for like a week. So it just must have
you chose off.
Yeah, I just cut it off. It's fine.
Okay, so there you go. Just and the other thing too, if you're ever making a
Fuck the
movie and you
TV.
want to make sure you have continuity in the shot, take the battery out of the fucking clock behind the actor. Just saying.
Yeah, guess so. Thank you.
You'd
Thank
rather
you,
have
Chuck.
a broken clock than one that keeps going back and forth in time because you look like an idiot.
This is why I like Chuck though, because
You really do.
He'll find those things in the background for me when I'm shooting if I don't see it. So thanks, Chuck. I appreciate it. You know, it's embarrassing that we're on our show and you had to do it for me, but that's fine.
It's not embarrassing. It's a learning experience. For those of you who have learned something, please donate to Aaron's ass. I don't know what you can donate to, but anything helps. Send him a star on Facebook. Is that the thing? Is that what it is now? What is it on Facebook?
As an Indiegogo?
Aaron's ass is an Indiegogo. Well, we haven't talked about the freckle in a long time, and it's going to be self-supported here shortly.
It might be.
That being said, let's stop blabbing on about ourselves and let's bring in our guest, Ren Caldwell, the thespian that knows a lot and wants to share and is crazy enough to jump on the show with us. So good luck, grab a hold of something, hold on, and talk fast because you have to keep up. Welcome to the show, Ren.
Hello, thank you so much.
Oh, welcome, Ren.
I shouldn't have talked shit about contractors. I didn't realize. My bad.
No, it's okay.
Right.
I'm really good at what I do and efficient, and your shit would have been done already, but that's okay.
Damn.
I'll talk
Okay.
shit about contractors too, if you want.
No, he's great. It's just a long. I'm in a house remodel for those who were not here before the show, and it's dragging.
Dragging along. Those remodeling contractors can make sure that it's like, hey, you got an extra room for rent? Because I'm going to be here for a while.
Right. You were saying it's been 9 months that you've been having your house remodeled. Is that correct?
Dude.
That's a long fucking time, right?
It's too long. It's too long, honestly, but it's okay. It'll be done soon, and it's going to be fabulous. And the parts that are done are fabulous. So I just got to stick it out. Just got to keep, moving and breathing. But I was telling them, I'm in my little, plywood box please not cardboard. My plywood box in
Not
the backyard. So my little sanctuary away from the bullshit. So
Fair.
doing all right.
So now, is this your studio that you're in? I mean, is this something you use regularly for auditions or for self-tapes? Or
Yeah. So that's why there's nothing on the wall behind me, is because that's my kind of self-tape zone. All the shit's over here. But this is where I had to have a place to do stuff, because I think as soon as the remodel started, the first time I had to do a self-tape, I was like, where the fuck am I supposed to go? So I went to the library, and I'm in one of those little rooms that you reserve at the library. But I didn't feel like I could talk loud, and I was like, I have to act. This is super janky. Exactly. So I was really happy to get this thing figured out, and it took forever to get internet figured out. But once I got that done, then it's like, all right, I got my little space heater. We are good to go. But this is where I do most of my recording and stuff, and I'm trying to set it up. Y'all want to see something fancy?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I have a little curtain action thing, and I have a thing that goes over the top. So I'm trying to create a little audiobook kind of nook, because the other thing that I do is I do audiobook recording. So
Nice.
I'm a volunteer at the Washington Talking Book and Braille Library. So for that, I just go to their place. But I want to start doing my own stuff, and I really want to get into voiceover and stuff like that. But I need a place to do it. So
Very good.
I'm
Nice.
getting creative.
That's very good. Did you know that we were doing an audio series right now? Did you know that?
No.
Ooh.
Yeah.
We are.
no, we're not recording it during the show, but
No, that's cool. Yeah. That's really cool. I think voice and vocal storytelling is a really amazing way to connect with characters. And
it is. It really is. I couldn't agree more. I listened. I think it was what was it, 2 years now? Maybe a year and a half. Maybe 2 years. I was on Spotify and I ran across this Batman thing. I can't remember. Batman something. God damn it. What the fuck was it called?
Chuck, do you remember?
I don't remember.
Batman Dark.
No.
No. I just saw the fucking thing. I just saw the link.
Know.
One of
And I'm not trying to plug it or anything. It's just really fucking good. And David S. Goyer wrote it, and it's fucking dope. I listened to it every day I was driving. Like, I could not stop. It was so fucking good. The voice acting was great, and I was like, holy shit. You know, I hear audiobooks all the time, and I'm like,
Batman Unburied. That's what it's called.
Unburied. Thank
Oh
you.
shit,
Thank you, buddy.
that's cool. Yeah, no, my first like connection with that kind of storytelling was the Hitchhiker's Guide, the BBC Hitchhiker's Guide. I listened to that shit like on repeat. I remember I was cleaning like my first apartment, and it was like 5 hours of cleaning, and we just had Hitchhiker's Guide going on in the background the whole time.
You see, and I never listened to that either. But what I liked about like Batman and stuff is like there was actual fight scenes and shit, and you could hear the punches and the kicks and all this shit. And I'm like, oh, dude, I could visualize it, right? It was fucking great. And I was like,
that was the Hitchhiker's Guide too. Like they had all the sound effects and everything, and it's so funny, dude. It's so funny. Check it out.
I will. I suck. I never ever got into audio stuff before like that until like recently, and now I'm like obsessed with it. I think it's great.
I'm really picky about audiobook narrators though. Like I will totally like I'll do the thing where it's like I borrow things off of like Libby or whatever. It's like connected to the library. That's where I listen to stuff because it's free. And but I'll like listen. They give you like a minute-long sample, and I'll listen to like 10 seconds, and I'll be like, fuck no, absolutely not. Like, cannot listen to you for more than 30 seconds. Like, I'm done. So I'm really picky, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'm a good audiobook narrator. I'm okay enough for them to hire me, I suppose. But I don't know. But I know what I like, and if I don't like it, I'm not gonna. If I don't like you, I'm not gonna listen to you.
It's a long time to listen to somebody you don't like the sound of. Like,
Oh my gosh. Yes.
It's got a vibe, right? It's got a fucking vibe with you, and that's key. Huh. Okay.
Well, another thing too is a lot of audiobooks have, they think they're being fancy by bringing in somebody with an accent, but it's like, okay, something's lost in the translation when you're missing the words. It's like, that's not how we say that around here.
Round these parts.
Right? Round these parts. Okay. Well, Ren, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, what the hell do you do? Like, let the audience know kind of who you are, what you do, and why you kind of do it, and then we'll kind of go from there, if you don't mind.
Cool. That is such a good question. Who the hell am I?
Who the hell are you?
So, I'm primarily an actor. I went to stunt school this summer. So, I grew up doing martial arts and dance and movement of all kinds. So I kind of got like honed a little bit of that in stunt school, but I was also the oldest person there, which I wasn't surprised to be the only person there. I was the only older person there, but I was surprised to actually be able to do everything. I thought I was going to be screwed, but turned out I kind of held my own and I was okay. So that was really fun. So I'm also getting into doing some stunt performing and some like fight choreography and stuff like that.
Awesome.
And then I just wrote and directed my first little baby movie. It's going to be about like 10 minutes long, called Vault. And thank y'all. And that's in post-production. It should be done actually, honestly, in the next couple days. So I'm really excited about that. It was very much like a passion project, and I didn't know if I'd like directing, but I really did. I really liked it. So I'm getting ready to do my second little film, halfway through kind of casting and collecting a crew. So probably going to shoot that in January. But it's being really fun to sort of branch out from acting into more kind of behind the camera stuff. And I guess I just never really expected to like writing, but I don't know why, because I've always enjoyed writing at other times in my life. But I was a strength and conditioning coach for 20 plus years. And so worked in gyms, eventually opened my own gym. COVID happened, had to close, kept it going online, completely burnt out. And then last year I was just like, I am just done. And it turns out I'm not done. Like, and now I'm doing a little bit of personal training again, and it's being fun, but like really shifted gears to acting. I've always wanted to act in movies. And so now I'm doing it. So I'm in Seattle. I'm doing mostly local stuff. Just got an agent, so I'm starting to do a little bit of commercial things. But yeah, just kind of trying to tell some good stories. That's like my main goal. I want to play cool characters. I don't care about being famous. I just want to create and want to collaborate. And that's my main goal in any of this, I guess. And I've been lucky enough to be in some really cool things already, some of which isn't really out yet. So yeah, that was a long rambling explanation of who I am.
Because it's a show where people listen and you talk.
Yeah.
So well done.
Yeah, she
Okay,
did
thank
good.
you.
Yeah, they did good. They did good. Okay.
And I really do appreciate y'all rocking with the pronouns. I
Trying
am
hard.
also, I should have said, as part of my intro, I'm non-binary, which is actually really fun and cool when it comes to acting, because it kind of means I can play all around the gender spectrum.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of really interesting collaborations with writers and directors around kind of, what non-binary is and means, and also like, what does it mean to think about a character without immediately having to assign gender and
Right.
gendered characteristics to that character? Like, what does it mean to talk about character without being hyper focused on whether it's man, woman, whatever?
Yeah.
And I've played some roles that were originally written for men, some that were written for women, and some where people were like, well, let me actually talk to me about this and let me try to write it for a non-binary character and tell me how I do. And I'm like, I love all of that. Like, I feel like there's so much room in our community and in our storytelling for different kinds of stories to be told. And they don't get told unless you tell them. And so that's kind of where I'm focused a little bit, I guess. So
Ren, I love you.
I love it.
well, thank you.
Yeah,
appreciate
a
that.
lot. And since you're being open and honest I'm going to be open and honest too, just like because this is our show.
Yeah.
So for weeks I've been sweating it, like sweating.
Oh, bro.
No. This is real shit. Like real shit. Because I don't want to scratch. Because I'm an old guy. I'm like 51 years old, right? And I'm nervous about like if I
I'm
say
48.
okay, you know what I mean. So you grew up when I did, and you
No,
get
I
it.
did.
Like
I did, and I
like,
do. I really do.
Yeah, because I'll call a girl a dude. I'll call a bro. And I don't know. And I always go back to like the Dark Knight when they say you live long enough to be the villain. Because I don't want to be. I don't want to be that guy because I don't really. It's not a big deal to me. I don't really judge any. I'm fucking black.
I love how you have to keep
what
pointing
do
that
I
out.
got
Don't
to
adjust your screens, ladies and gentlemen.
I got nothing to say. I'm so glad that people are accepting me. You know what I mean? So I don't give a fuck what's going on. So I'm good. But I don't want to offend anybody. And I know that that's a tricky slope with some. But immediately when you got in the lobby, I didn't feel that way.
Oh, that's good.
I
I'm glad.
can tell you're cool. I can tell you're down.
Yeah.
And thank you for being cool. I appreciate
No,
it.
thanks, man. I really appreciate that. And like, I have a lot of close friends that struggle with pronouns. I have a lot of people in my life that have known me for a long time. I didn't come out as non-binary until I was 46.
Wow.
So
Wow.
for me, sometimes there's this, but for me, it was like, well, the thing is, I was always non-binary.
This is who I am.
There just wasn't
for it.
a word for what it was that I was. Like when I was growing up, I was a tomboy, and then I was just queer, and then and it just like as the nomenclature develops, we have more descriptive words for the people that we've always been,
Right.
and that's what this is for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not the way a lot of other non-binary folks probably connect with it, but that's okay. I mean, my whole idea or my whole goal with all this, I guess, is just to, like I said, try to connect myself with folks who want to tell different kinds of stories than the
that.
ones that have been told up until this point, which has been told from a very specific demographics point of view. And I Yeah, like Steve. Yeah, Steve. No, but seriously, I'm excited to be in your movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
I know, it's funny. I had the same kind of thing. Like when I started writing the project that I was so happy as to find Ren for just recently, like 10 years ago. And I remember, like, at first the character was gay, then they were trans, and somebody kept asking me, they're like, well, why not just make it easier on yourself? And I'm like, because everybody does it. Like, there's a certain amount where you're like, you know, movies and TV can be some of the best empathy machines, you know, because you can really put yourself into the feet of somebody else. And, you know, even if you look incredibly pasty and are straight and stuff, like I am, you can still introduce people to new ideas, including myself, like while I'm writing the shit. So,
Yeah. No, I love that. And I think it's so important. And I mean, I'm not somebody who's like, oh, I'm non-binary, so I need to only play non-binary characters. I'm just like, no, non-binary means I can play whatever the fuck I want to. That's awesome.
Yeah,
you know,
awesome.
but I can bring myself to it. And I've been really like pleasantly surprised that a lot of times when I audition, I'm like, hey, I have a lot of wigs. I love wigs. I love transforming my appearance. I'm an actor. I don't want to play myself.
Right.
But there's a whole lot of people who are like, no, we love the mohawk. I don't have a nose ring in right now, but they're like, we love the mohawk and the nose ring. Like, we want, that's who we want. And I'm like, okay. That's great, because then there's more people who look like me on screen, which how many people have we seen on screen presenting the way that I do? Like, very, very few. And so I'm always happy to be a part of increasing that representation. But I'm also down to talk to people who want to write about like who want to write characters from a point of view of who are these humans that are interacting, and you know, what are their characteristics, but more just like, what are their personalities, what are they, you know, how do they speak, and all of that. And so there's actually very few times when gender really has to like take center stage, I think, in the writing of character. So why not? I don't know. My first movie, Vault, I had one human character in it, and initially I just called them human. Like, that was the name of the character. And when I put out the casting call, I was like, I'm open to any gender, any race, any whatever. Like, I don't care. I don't have an idea in my head of what this person looks like. And whether they're a man or a woman or a non-binary person or queer or whatever. I was like, I know the energy that I'm looking for, and I want to see everybody. I want to, send me your audition, because what I'm connecting to is on a kind of energetic level, and you could look like anybody. I don't care. And so that's how I ended up getting submissions from all over, you know, a huge group of people, and it was so fun to just to actually have that be true, that I could like look at all of these, and it wasn't about how they looked. It was like, what is the character that they're bringing to life, and do I believe them? Do I feel connected to them? You know, do they have that kind of vibe that I'm looking for? If
you don't mind, I hope it doesn't spoil the ask that. Oh, Chuck's got one. I see.
You go. You're probably going to ask the question I was going to ask.
So when you were looking for it, did you have a specific idea, or was it like a kind of vague vibe that you were going for, or were you looking for somebody to kind of give you a vibe that clicked with you?
Well, I think it was a little bit of both. I had a character description, but it was a description of kind of the personality. So the biggest thing that I had is that the character was going to be a vlogger, like somebody who, it's kind of a found footage horror film. And so this is the person whose, you know, footage is found is the human character. And so it's kind of told, I mean, I shot it on an iPhone. It's told kind of, you know, from this perspective, hey, you know, kind of this thing. Where's my hand? There's my hand. Hey, you know, that kind of thing. Like, I'm out of frame. Anyway, it's that kind of perspective, but also kind of going through. And so I knew that most of their lines were going to be off camera. It was going to need, like, they were going to have a lot of personality in their voice. And also I wanted this kind of open, adventurous kind of just energetic vibe. And so that's what I put out there. And I was just like, whatever person comes back with this vibe, I'm going to be down with. But then what really sold it is when I did self-tapes for the first thing, but then I did in-person callbacks because I wanted definitely to see them in person and be able to interact with them and collaborate with them. And like, how does that feel? Like, do they listen to the direction that I give? And, if I give them space to do something, do they do something? Or do they only do the thing that they think I want them to do? Because that's not who I wanted. And so, I had a lot of great people come in, and people did that to one degree or another. But then the one person that we ended up choosing, my favorite thing that she did, I'm sorry, this is turning into a very long story. The favorite thing
Again, it's a radio show. Talking is good.
Yeah.
Okay. My favorite thing that they did was I gave them, they did their first take, and I was like, that was fucking great. I love that. And then I was like, okay, so so just try something different here. Think about it as like that you're really excited to be here, and you want to really share that with the people that you're talking to, because and we gave them the iPhone so that they could practice like talking to it. And so then she immediately was like, okay, great. Let me find another spot in the room. And she just like went over to another part of the room and like sat down on the floor cross-legged and then like started her thing again. And I was like, well, that was a bold choice. Like, she just like moved herself around because we were watching her on an iPad. Like, we wanted to see what the phone was seeing.
Yeah.
And so she knew that, and she was like, oh, that means I don't have to stand in front of them and deliver the lines. I can go somewhere else. And she did like a spin, where she was like, this place is gorgeous, and just like did a whole, and I was like, all right, it's you.
Yeah.
I guess.
Performance.
Like,
That's
it was
awesome.
It's a performance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
How many hits did you get for the part, having it that it was so wide open? Did you get a lot of?
I think it was during a time where there were a lot of other things casting, so maybe I would have gotten more. I don't know, but I had about 40 people submit,
Wow.
and then I had a lot of people reach out in addition to that didn't end up getting their self-tapes in. So
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
all right.
great.
it was a lot. I know.
great.
I was
That's
really
good.
happy. I mean, as a first time, it was my first thing. I didn't have any credentials or anything, so I was like, okay, thanks, y'all. Yay.
No, that's a big deal.
Yeah,
That's
it really
awesome.
was.
It
That
is
is
a big
awesome.
deal. So I got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
So as a writer myself, and like I established earlier on the show, I'm old. So when I'm writing stories, it literally, in my head, it's like this, male female thing, right? I grew up watching these type of movies, so it doesn't come to my attention too often. And if I do throw in a character that might be gay, I'm thinking it's just gay. But now there's so many different ways to portray someone like what you're talking about, a non-binary person. When you're out there acting and you're reading a script that someone might submit to you, do you see that, or am I like the only one that's like stuck? Because Steve obviously 10 years ago was writing a non-binary person. He's more advanced than I am. I'm stuck in like this era, but I don't mean to be. So, what do you see like when stories come across your desk? What do you see that same kind of thing, or are you seeing more and more people writing for non-binary?
Well, I think it's a great question. And I think there's two answers. So I think the first one is that, yes, I mean, I do see a lot, most scripts that come through and most things that I read for and audition for are male or female. There are very few that come through that, especially anything that's in any way commercial. There's very few things that come through that have other kinds of characters other than just male and female. And, also very few gay characters, like you said. And so there is a little bit of like, a little bit of frustration because again, like, I love movies. I've always loved movies. I love all kinds of movies. I'm obsessed with behind the scenes stuff. Like I'm filmmaking in general. I'm such an enormous nerd. And it's frustrating to never see yourself. And I was listening to, I think it was the podcast you did with Eric Franklin, and y'all were talking about Star Wars, and Samantha was saying like, well, I didn't see myself as Princess Leia, and so I just didn't connect with it. And I was like, for me, it's always been a little bit of the opposite, where like, because I'm non-binary, I kind of I can connect with whoever. And my frustration has been actually in raising a daughter, that for a long time she was like, I don't want to read that book. It's about a boy. And I was like, oh, when I was growing up, there were no books that weren't about boys, except for like fucking Little House on the Prairie or whatever, like every book that I loved, it was a male hero. It was a dude doing the stuff. And nowadays, all of the all these new young adult books are coming out, and there's queer characters, there's trans characters, there's women and girls that are like kicking ass and serpent slayers and everything like that. And I'm just like, that's fucking awesome.
It is.
That wasn't around when I was growing up.
And I knew you would say that. I fucking knew you would say that, dude. I knew it. I knew they would. I knew it. I knew it.
I grew up in Florida. Like I grew up, there was nobody like me, anybody around. And so that is one half of the answer is most scripts and things are like that. The other side of this is that I think that in particular, our industry, and I'm just talking about film, is so bad at uplifting voices of marginalized people. And in general, we need so much more money and support and agency given to people who are living life from other perspectives and writing from those perspectives.
Exactly.
And so, yes, I would love to see more, non-binary and gay and trans characters in mainstream scripts. I would also like to see a lot more scripts making it to being made by people who are of those identities.
Right.
Yep.
And so it's a two-part thing. And I really appreciate, like Steve, I really appreciate that you are looking to do that and looking to bring these characters in. And I think that's one half of it. And the other half is we need to get more filmmakers in power and in standing in their identities and showing the world showing what the world looks like from their point of view. So
I think that's gonna change.
That's what I'm thinking, right?
Yeah, I think so
things are
too.
becoming cheaper, and I mean, I hate to say that that's a big part of it, but I feel like you look at Hollywood right now, whatever the fuck that means now. But like,
I have a whole other podcast.
So like, everything is so expensive there. Like, even something very small has to be made to make money. And I feel like as things move along and people who are like you and can just pick up an iPhone and be like, hey, hook up on Facebook, let's do this. I feel like that's going to happen more just because unfortunately they may not get the press to push out into the the wider sphere, but I think it's coming.
Yeah, I do too. And like Ren said, like I had a feeling you would go down that path and saying like, these younger writers are writing more of these things, but they're growing up in an age where they understand it, where someone like me and my old ass doesn't as much, and it takes us a while to get there. But see, here's the thing that sucks about it, because Ren is our age, right? And you deserve a chance to play a character that identifies with you. And if someone like me doesn't fucking write it, but some younger person does, way down the road, are you going to have a shot at doing it? And that sucks. You know what I mean? That sucks to me.
Yeah, Aaron, that sucks. Thanks for pointing that out.
Well, you're a writer too, motherfucker. So don't just blame me.
Non-binary person in the horrorverse. God damn it.
Right?
But yeah, and that's the thing, and because of people like you though, that you can help change that for someone down the road, right?
Yeah. Well,
you really can.
It really is important to me, and I think it helps me anyway that I have kids, and I've seen them go through all sorts of struggles, and my daughter for a while was using all different pronouns, and that sort of was the first thing that made me think about my own pronouns, and like that started the gears turning in my head was what she was exploring. And honestly, the pandemic was a really interesting time, I think, for a lot of kids, because it was the first time in their lives, and I saw this with my son is at Western. He's a senior in college right now, and studying behavioral neuroscience. I'm like,
Woohoo, he studies and
let's
drinks.
go. Let's go.
Good Lord.
Bro. But anyway, so he was like in his latter years of high school during the pandemic, and several of his friends came out as gay, as trans during the pandemic. And I was talking to him about why that was, and I realized it's because they didn't have to perform gender every day. They were they were doing remote school. They were asynchronous learning, right? And so they didn't have to put clothes on and go into a physical space. And I think it just gave them the mental space to actually think about who they were when no one was looking.
Yeah.
And I think it did the same thing for me. I mean, I think that's why I ended up coming out a couple of years ago and not several years before that, is because I think when I owned my gym and I was like, yeah, businesswoman, like I was like, I am a woman in the strength and conditioning space. Fuck all y'all, and I was bringing that energy of just like woman power.
Yeah.
And I think there was part of me that was afraid to lose that. Coming out as non-binary, like, oh, if I'm not a powerful woman,
What am I?
then what am I exactly? But the pandemic gave me space to sort of get over that and just be like, yeah, but you're not a woman, bro. Like,
right.
Sorry.
It's important the self-talk we do with ourselves. Look, bro.
Well, it's a Zen moment, right? If you look at it that way, like my kids are the same way. They had that moment where they're just like, it's just fucking weird, but they had to. They got in tune with themselves and know what they wanted to do. Even my youngest daughter, who's 15 now, appreciates like going to school. She loves going to school.
Oh yeah.
She remembers.
No, my 16-year-old is all over it.
Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, when we grew up, I didn't want to ever go to fucking school. School sucked, right? And there was nothing to get you out of it. When the pandemic happened, I'm that parent that was like, dude, this is great. You guys are fucking lucky as fuck, right?
No, I was like, bro, when I was your age, I was getting shoved into lockers. You're like
know what I mean,
living the
dude?
dream here. You're not doing any of this bullshit.
Right, they didn't have to do anything. No initiation, none of that bullshit. They were fucking smooth. No bullies, no nothing. You're at home. You don't need to get bullied. Turn off your phone. It's that simple. Oh.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Anyway, okay. Chuck, where you at, bro? Talk to me.
I'm
this is a
currently
great
at my
conversation.
residence here in Port Orchard, Washington.
I know. But you had called me out earlier about writing. When you writing scripts and stuff, have you thought of it, or is it just like not something that pops in your head, or is it story related? I mean, that's a question that's going through my head. It's like, have I really not thought about non-binary people just because? Am I like old, or is it because it hasn't fit the story?
Well, as we have
And if
learned
it did fit the story, would it be better? I haven't thought of it. I really haven't.
Well, for the things that I have written, as we have learned, I am a non-discriminate killer. So all the victims in my stories, it doesn't matter who they are. Aaron doesn't have to point out that all the black people always die, but it doesn't matter when everyone dies, Aaron. Everyone, who wins in the end? The killer.
No.
The killer wins. Why?
Yeah.
Because it's more fun.
Yeah.
And that's how you create something that people pay attention to. So yeah, I'll kill anybody. I really will. I'll kill Ren. I'd love to kill you.
Oh, that's fine. I have died many times in films.
Aaron, I thoroughly and totally enjoy killing you.
I know you do. I've been
So
there.
many
It's fun.
times now.
I'm just curious about that, though.
Steve's like so many times.
Well, because if you think about it, character-wise, it brings a whole new dynamic to a story if you really focus on it. And I think that's what Steve did with Universal. And I mean, and he named it Universal, and that's what's so cool, right?
And then he wrote it so long ago.
Well, yeah, but there's this weird dichotomy to it. Like it's like this universe he created is open for anybody. And if you think about like Star Wars, like when I was a kid watching it, you don't discriminate against anything other than the bad guys, right? But look at all the different characters there were. I mean, there were so many different facets of life forms that you could see. And I think people that think that way can write something so deep. If they don't, which makes me feel like shit right now, because I've never thought about it in that way.
That's what you mix in with though too. Like I would love to think that I'm truly just an evolved human being, but ask anybody who knows me. But like I think like I grew up in one of the gayest cities in the world. I grew up in Long Beach, California, and like I think I didn't have.
Lucky.
It's awesome. Long Beach is the best city, no question of that. But like I think it also depends on who you bump into. Because I mean, honestly, I didn't think of a non-binary actor until the beloved and wonderful Logan Cannon tossed your name at me. He's the best. He is the best.
Yes, he is a great guy.
Loved. I stand Logan forever.
Yeah.
But
I cooked with him. God damn it! So you guys can fuck off. I know what's up with Logan. We cooked together and watched a werewolf movie. We're no joke.
We gotta get him back or something soon. Anyway, sorry, but like it's funny. I didn't think of it till he threw your name out, and I was like, "Fuck yeah!" But it was funny because like I knew a trans person when I was younger, and they were in my family. I shouldn't say really a trans person. It was somebody who used to cross dress, very very close to me. And I love them dearly. And it's funny, I just wrote the role like as if like there was one day where that person could just go, like I thought of it originally as like zombies. I'm like, okay, if you were just pretending to be a certain kind of person, a tough guy your whole life, and then zombies showed up, you'd be like, well, fuck this. I'm putting a dress on. I've been wanting to wear a dress for years. And then I literally, exactly.
Okay, got it.
And that's where the whole character came from. So when I met you, I was like, okay, it's got to have that energy still, but how to make that work? And yeah, I think it comes from who you grew up around. Like I grew up, like I said, in it. We had a building, and I wish I would have taken a picture. Oh my God, it was called Gaytopia, and it was the coolest giant blue sign in Long Beach over a hotel. And I was like, that's where I come from. So yeah, maybe it's just the circles you spin in.
And you know what? I think you're onto something there, Brett. I think you really are. I think it is a circle, and that could make a difference. Like what's put into us when we're growing up, right?
Oh gosh, yeah. No, I had such the opposite. I grew up in like a small town in Florida, and I never knew anybody like me. And so I felt really like I was an alien, and definitely no one in my family was like me. I was very conservative Christian, whatever. And so it wasn't until I went to Minnesota for college because I just needed to get as far away as humanly possible. And that's when I started to meet people. It was like a little liberal arts college, and I started to meet people like me. And I was like, oh, I'm not an alien. I was just surrounded by people who were so. I wasn't safe. I wasn't safe to be I wasn't safe to be who I was there.
Right.
Yeah.
And I still don't feel safe there. I mean, I'm going there in a couple weeks to see my family because all my family's down there. And it's like, okay, strap in. Time to have a head on a swivel and just try not to get fucking shit kicked out of me. And it's bullshit, but it's true. It's
from the area or your family?
Oh, from the area.
Okay, good. Just, some families don't get along.
People,
I'm just saying.
Well, no. Most of the people, honestly, in my family that wouldn't have shit kicked me, but would have just been bitches about it, are dead now.
Okay.
I like to think that the hate killed them.
And you never know. Mm-hmm. I mean, you never know. I get where you're coming from with that.
I think it's kind of poison, so I wouldn't be surprised.
I get it too. Yeah. I love Ren. Ren's a.
Oh, thanks.
I fucking love it.
Well, I just have to say that my music is always non-binary.
There you go.
Thanks, Kelvin.
Yep.
I appreciate you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ren, so okay, as a filmmaker, since you just shot your first film, Bolt, which was one of the big reasons you were on my radar, period, and I can't tell you if it was a poster or if it was just a post, but there was this really cool poster that was just like, I think it was just either black or white text of vault, and it was over just a really simple shot of the vault, and I thought it was amazing. I don't know who got it.
Thanks.
It's awesome.
That was me.
Yeah,
I
it was
did
that.
that.
But what films or what filmmakers one made you want to start making films, and then who what specifically for Volt? Was there any kind of filmmakers or filmmaking that you had in mind?
Oh, I love that question. I can't even begin to say who would have inspired me to do it. Except that I've always kind of liked okay, well, I'm going to scrap what I'm going to say. I'm going to say something else now. What I was going to say was that I was actually in a movie 20 plus years ago. It was the first movie I was ever in, and then I went 20 years and didn't make a movie, and then started making movies again last year. But the movie was, it was called On a Clear Day and No Memories, and it was a dance film, because I was a professional dancer before I did personal training. And it took place at Fort Worden, which is over by Fort Townsend. I think y'all probably most of you have been there. It's like one of the Washington forts, right? And I'd never heard of it. But the way we did it is we learned all the choreography in Seattle, and then we spent 8 days at Fort Worden at Centrum, because they have that big like complex there where they kind of house everybody or whatever. So anyway, I made this dance film there, and what we did is we had this choreography, and then we just explored being in different spaces and different parts of the fort. We shot at night, we shot in the rain, we shot like in different costumes, different configurations of people, but we were exploring the same kind of movement. And I got to know the fort, and I just thought it was the coolest fucking place in the universe. And so for 20 years, I've been going back and on my own and taking photos there, doing little like artsy, kind of like movement shit, and like doing all this stuff, right? But just obsessed with this idea with the forts of like, they have such personality, and they were built and they were manned, and all these people were stationed there, and nothing ever fucking happened. So it was just this big impotent war machine kind of thing. And now nature is totally reclaiming them, and there's moss everywhere, and everything's rusted, and it's like it's all fucked up, right? And so I just love that vibe of like just nature being like,
eat it.
All right, bitches, like we're taking it back,
Yeah.
And so when I went to, I was like, I wanted to write something, and this was last year, basically this exact same time last year, and it's dark and cold and rainy, and I'm like, ugh, and so I just started writing, and that was the setting, and then the story just poured out of me in like 3 or 4 hours one day. And I think you said on a podcast, not to sound like a nerd, but I listened to some podcasts in preparation for this. But I think I remember you saying, Aaron, that like you don't do a ton of drafts, like you kind of just write it and then it's out.
Vomit draft.
That's kind of how I'm working. Like it poured out of me in like 3 hours, and I didn't really do hardly anything to it after that. Like it was just like, oh, it turned into a found footage horror film. How interesting, But the whole idea was, I want to go back to this place, but I want to go there with other artists. I want to go there with people who I can like kind of introduce to this place if they hadn't been there. Yeah. And if they had been there and they liked it, then it was like, yes, come bring that energy. But like the main character, the human person, had never been to the fort. So I was like, and so I just knew, it made me so excited to shoot it, because it was like, we're going to show up there, and I'm going to give her a flashlight, and I'm going to go, okay, you got 20 minutes. Go run around. Go check it out.
Yeah.
And then we'll start shooting. Because like, I want you to have that feeling of going in and peering at the dark corners, and what does it sound like? What does it feel like in these spaces? But like, then, we had so much fun doing it. And so I think when it came to that movie, it was really all about the place,
No, I get it. Yeah.
I love it.
I totally get it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the characters just kind of, I had these creatures, and I realized I needed them to be good movers. And so I hired a bunch of dancers, and I had dancer friends that came in and did it. And because I needed people who knew how to move together and who I could say things in like super geeky dancer speak and be like, okay, y'all, these shadows, they're not floating. There's a groundedness to them. And they'd be like, oh, okay. And then the next take, they're just like, now they're grounded shadows instead of floating shadows. And I could fucking see the difference, you know? It was so fun, y'all. And I'm so happy with it. And I'm so excited to make another movie because this one is even more so like that, where it's all about the energy of the people I'm collaborating with.
Yeah,
and them bringing their brilliant selves and just what can we create together that we couldn't create without each other?
That's the trick, and that's why I only do write one draft. I don't get obsessed with my own shit. I think the more drafts you do, the more invested you get, and the more you're leery to change that later. When you run into those kind of writers and directors out there who write their stuff, they're so no, just say the lines the way they're supposed to be said. But I'm not that way because I didn't spend that much fucking time to do it anyway. It's like, this is it. I give it to people like you, and then you guys make it better.
So here's a suggestion then, because you were talking about you were saying you're old. I am also old.
Yeah.
You were saying you're old and writing in that way, writing for people, it's not men, women, whatever. Because you only write one draft, maybe try writing something where what you're thinking about is who are these people and what are the relationships between them, and give them names, but like, does it have to be, Patrick, man,
right.
30s, whatever? Couldn't it just be Patrick, 30s, blah, 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 blah. And then see what happens when you write.
They did that with Alien.
Yeah.
The original Alien. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. That was so inspired. That was one of the things that was inspiring to me when I was thinking about writing, was I was like, oh, I've only ever seen screen.
You know what's funny? It wasn't until I met Steve that I started to put 30s, this dude. Because I thought that was how you're supposed to do it. Before that, I never wrote that way. Chuck, any script I wrote, have you ever read me writing what the person looked like? No.
Well, I remember reading
Please.
I remember reading the screenplay for The Outrider, which was the first movie we worked on together.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I pointed out to you was, where's the description of this character?
Right. And I didn't have one.
I was like, what?
Yeah, I didn't have one.
Yeah.
So maybe I was writing that way, Ren, and this industry got me to think differently.
Oh, my.
What happened?
See what I did there?
So wait a second. Did you just say Kelvin broke you?
Apparently.
Yeah, because I never said Marcus Ford was black.
Yeah.
And I played Marcus Ford, right? Yeah, no, I knew that I was going to play that character. I didn't think about my color or my gender. I was just like, dude's a badass. That's all I knew. And that's it.
The fun thing. Yeah, that's the fun thing about wigs too, because like I didn't really get into wigs until I was in a stage production at the beginning of the year called Unstoppable, a queer dancicle. And
Dancicle?
It was a dancicle, so it was a musical with no singing, basically.
It's on. It's part of it on your YouTube page. Am I correct?
Yeah, I think I saw. I watched some of that, Ren.
Yeah. So it was really fun, but the thing that really saved my ass was a wig, because the character that I was playing was supposed to be like a closeted politician.
Okay.
And I was like, in our day and age, this does not read closeted politician. This reads gay as fuck. And that's the thing, right? Is like, I'm not trying to read closeted politician, and I'm not going to change myself to read closeted politician. So I need some help. And so that's where the wig came in. But for me, it was more about like, this is the face that this character is trying to put out to the world is different from my face. And like I said, I don't have a problem with that. I'm fucking actor. If I wanted to play myself, I would only do documentaries, I guess, or autobiographies or whatever the fuck, you know. But like, no, it was recognizing for me that I needed to find the right wig so that I could be believable as this character to myself. Like, it wasn't even about convincing the audience. But the crazy thing was, when I put the wig on, I was like, oh, I do not look like myself at all. Like, all of a sudden, like, I put that wig on and I was Susan
Somebody
Monroe.
else. Right.
And it was just like, oh, okay, that's all I needed is I needed the wig.
I get that. And when we did The Outrider, I felt the same way putting on the fucking fedora. And when I played Bullseye, that's why I bought the fucking wig. It helps me not think about me, if that makes sense.
Well, and what it does, I think, is that it lets you relax a little bit, and it lets you be, like, I had to try so hard to be believable as that character before I got the wig. And then when I got the wig, it just did a lot of that work for me, and I could sort of relax a little bit into the character and just be. I didn't have to project so hard, you know? Like, all those things help. The hair, the makeup, all of that, costume.
Because
everything helps a lot. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're playing dress up, and that's great.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
I love playing dress up.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yep. Oh, man, good stuff. Wow. This has already been an hour, guys.
So I still
no.
want to talk a little bit about Vault because
Yes,
I
please
am
do.
so interested in your film.
No.
Oh, golly, wow, thank you.
When is it coming out? Can we know when it comes out? Can we know?
Well, no, I mean, I would love to know when it's coming out.
How the fuck are you gonna quote no? The word answer is just no. Can we know? No, because I don't know, bitch. I don't know what's coming out. How are you supposed to tell you?
No, okay. So what I can tell you is we're at the end of post-production. We have a locked picture. We're working on sound. We probably have another few more days of sound and then some coloring. And so hopefully in another week or so, it'll be done. And then
Awesome.
I'm very excited. And so, this is another thing I was, hoping for some advice on, honestly, because I'm trying to figure out what the fuck to do with it. And I have several little film festivals. Like there's a group that I'm a part of, Chroma Dreamers. Y'all heard of them? Yeah. So I'm one of the dreamers. And so they're having a screening at like the beginning of December. And so I was like, well, my film will probably be done. I can submit that. It'll be under 10 minutes. And so I hopefully I could, put it there and then people could see it. And there's like Dreadfest coming up that I'm like, maybe I'll get done in time for that, which would be fun. But the first thing I want to do is a cast and like family screening. But I over at Two Fingers Social. I don't know if y'all know that bar in White Center. Oh, it's great. It's like a horror kind of cult classic themed bar, but they have like a big screen and the owner loves movies and like.
It's where Daniel always invites us to join him for those meetings that we never go to.
Oh.
Yeah, you should go, by the way. They're fun.
Gotcha. Thank you, Chuck. Yeah.
That was the first social thing I did in Seattle for film was go to one of those and met Daniel and he's fantastic. So, so that's what I'm doing. So then, and then I feel like I have no issue with just putting it on YouTube and just letting people watch it. But I would love for people to be able to see it on a bigger screen, and don't have cash to rent a theater
and do that thing. Yeah. Well, if that's, in my opinion, you follow your gut and do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there is no one right way. There isn't one right way. I'm not a film festival person.
I know. I also heard that on a podcast.
But that doesn't mean
he's gonna give me shit about doing film festivals.
No. I say that stuff because I want everybody to make their own choice. Like I respect people that are out there that are like, "Fuck you, Aaron. I love film festivals." I'm like, "Good, fuck you. Go do it then. I don't give a shit.
Great.
Go. Prove me wrong." And if they prove me wrong, I'm like, "Oh shit, they proved me wrong." Maybe I should do a film festival.
I think you're moving toward film festivals.
Oh no!
Yeah.
No,
I feel like deep in your heart at night, you're like, if I could just try out this.
I don't think so. I don't know.
I'm sorry. Deep in his heart at night right now, he's like, "This penguin is the shit."
Yeah, Penguin. Penguin. That's my show right now. No, I don't know. I'm torn, but not. I'm still leaning far non-film. However, I'm coming around. I respect it. I respect it, and I get the hustle. And I get why people do it.
Yeah.
But like everybody has I had a conversation today with Chase Dudley, and he was like, film festivals are great for networking. I'm like, yeah, but so is our podcast. I get to meet people like you, Ren, and I really get to know you. I don't get to see you with a bunch of other people around and then, not be able to actually communicate and learn who you are. I don't get that experience, right?
Right.
In a film festival, you do, but I also have to pay for it. And here we are having a conversation over StreamYard, and I get to know you on a level that I wouldn't if I paid for it.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Can't argue with the cost. Yeah.
And my only advice, Ren, when it comes to film festivals, I was in the board of directors for a film festival for a very long time.
Oh yeah, you were.
And the one thing that I sadly saw a lot in film festivals is that filmmakers get stuck in film festivals. And then you go back the next year, and you go back the next year, and you go back the next year, and then you'll never explore your true potential because you'll be stuck in the competition instead of in the art. So
okay, so if you're not interested in competition, but you're interested in art, what do you do?
Well, I honestly build your social media platforms and reach out through there. So like YouTube or Instagram, Facebook, build your audience away from the festival so that if you do end up bringing something to the festival, you'll bring an audience to it, and that's what's going to make you win, basically.
Yep.
I agree. Yeah. So, but do not get stuck in the competition because you'll be stuck.
No.
It's a vicious circle that you will not get out of.
I just don't care. I want people to see it.
Yeah.
I want people to see it. That's all.
Think about
I don't care if I've never cared about competition. I'm an artist. Like I grew up dancing and doing martial arts. I never played sports. I'm so uninterested in all of that. I just want people to see it. And so if I can submit to a festival like the Chroma Dreamers thing, and a whole bunch of my friends go down to Tacoma and see my film, I'm thrilled. Like that's, and then they talk to me about it afterwards because I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I think that's all I want.
I think there's nothing wrong with wanting to see your film on the big screen. We all do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a beautiful thing, and I get it. And I think that if you look at it that way, and you meet a few people while you're at like a festival, great.
Yeah.
But honestly, the amount of views that you can get if you're hustling and you're doing your thing online, and to push people to where your movie is and to get them excited about it, you're going to get hella more views. We've got almost 400,000 views on our Shape film in it's not even 2 years yet. 400,000 people have watched our movie, and this is legitimate views.
That's awesome.
That's not going to happen at a film festival. You're
not
going to get those
never.
kind of numbers. You know the amount of the comments we've gotten, whether they like it or not is irrelevant. There's engagement.
Yeah.
People took their time with all the shit. Yeah, with all the shit out there on the planet to watch. They clicked on our fucking thumbnail.
Yeah.
That's fucking amazing to me. So I don't give a shit if they liked it or not, but you want people to watch your shit, you make them watch your shit. That's what I do.
No, for sure.
I don't fuck around. Get out there and tell people, go watch my shit.
Yeah, like I've told Aaron before when we've had this conversation about festivals. I'm with him about festivals. After being around festivals and watching thousands of movies to judge and stuff like that, I would suggest festivals to someone who just got into film school and they're really testing out their talent and they really need to network because their creativity is very limited.
Life is short. I'm already 48. Let's go.
Let's go, right? Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
You and I are on the same page, Ren.
Yeah.
We're on the same page.
That's why I'm doing my second one. Like I'm doing my second one already.
Yeah.
My first one isn't done yet. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Worry about some sort of festival when you have your feature length movie that you think could win you an Oscar, then go for a festival. And you'll get
great.
a theater scheduled
Yeah.
for a showing, and then you can finally get it nominated for an Academy Award. Don't worry about festivals when you're starting out.
Yeah, I
Perfect.
agree.
I will
Especially if
not.
you're starting out late and you really want to go.
Yeah, and there are film festivals that if Sundance reached out and be like, "Hey, submit your film," I'd be like, "Oh shit, I would do it in a heartbeat, no problem. I'd probably diarrhea and then send it, and then just sit here in my diarrhea, no problem." But that's not going to happen, right?
Yeah.
But if you do make something that gets kind of an audience behind it, and you get leverage, and you've built this, and you have something that you can show a festival of that caliber.
Yeah.
Then I think, let's fucking go. But, a lot of filmmakers will spend this money and submit to Sundance, and they're going to get rejected, and they know it. And I'm like, why are you wasting your money? You know it. You're still learning. I'm still learning. We all are still learning this.
Well, God, I hope so. I mean, why else bother with any of this?
Exactly.
I really hope I'm learning every single time I do anything. And I think that's the thing. Like, if there are younger folks that are like paying, listening to this or whatever, I'm just like, please don't think that you already have to have it figured out before you start. Like,
no, you don't.
I was 47 when I started doing film acting. When I started acting, I'd only ever done theater, except for that one dance film 20 years ago. Like, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, so I took some classes and I started fucking around on my own, and then I trusted that I would learn what I wanted to learn because I was excited and I wanted to do it, and I was inspired and just followed that. And the more I keep leaning into that, the more good stuff happens. So, like,
you trust the process.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I do. So that would be my advice, and I'm sure Kelvin would agree with me there. Trust the process. Chuck, Steve, you have anything to tell her about what you guys think, so she can be confused or even have an answer?
Then
Chuck was starting, and
Chuck,
you haven't
go
talked
for it.
enough tonight.
What-
I'll start with what I was going to say. There's nothing more that I can say to inspire you than what you are already inspired to do, because you already have a vision and a direction. So there's nothing else for me to add to it or negate from what your thought is. You are doing fine on your own.
Yeah,
thank you.
I agree.
I have not one tiny bit to add, but if we do have enough time, Aaron, I do have one good question.
Yes, please go.
Oh, great! I love
Yeah.
questions. Yes.
Can you tell us anything about your next project?
Oh, sure. My next movie that I'm making is called Poster, and it's kind of a queer, artsy, meet cute kind of situation. It's going to involve a lot of kind of technology, which we've heard I'm not good at, but I'm doing it anyway. I wrote it into the story. Someone who's good at it is going to help me. But it's kind of a story about two artists that kind of start inspiring each other a little bit from afar through some interesting means, and then eventually are able to connect. So completely different story than the one that I told before. But I'm really excited about it, and it's going to mostly take place in Capitol Hill, which is where I lived there for 8 years, and
I love Capitol.
it's still me too. It still kind of has it's a little gentrified now, and I couldn't have afforded to live there.
Right, I couldn't either.
Back when I lived there. I could barely afford to live there then, and it's a lot different now, but it's still cool. And I got really inspired walking around there, and just seeing the kind of layers and layers of posters on the light poles and stuff.
Yeah,
and I took a shit ton of pictures, and I was just like, I love this, and this is so Cap Hill. And then it made me think about the people that actually have to go around with the big messenger bags and staple up
and
posters.
staple everything.
And so the main character is someone who's a poster, does the postering by day, but then they're an artist, and that's their main thing.
That's awesome.
And so they're
awesome.
they're always looking for inspiration, and they find it kind of in this other person's work.
I love it.
Yeah, so it's going to be pretty great. And I found the two main characters already. I've got my cinematographer and my editor figured out. And I have an artist that they're actually the person that did my headshots. And they are not only a photographer, but they also do like print art and like woodblock things and everything. And so I'm going to be collaborating with them to actually create all the art for the film. So I'm just so excited about it. It's going to be like a lot of pre-production kind of like creation of the things, but then the shoot should only take a couple days. So I'm really excited about that. Hopefully January, if the weather isn't too shit, we can get a couple days in there where it's not pouring rain.
When it comes to following you, what's the best place to follow you to hear more about Poster? And
Oh yeah, so I'm Ren Caldwell on the Instagrams and the Facebook. I had to create a Facebook last year because I was like, where the fuck is all the acting shit? And they're like, it's on Facebook. I'm like,
It's on Facebook. Yeah, Facebook don't fuck
I
around.
deleted my Facebook account like 7 years ago.
I try to tell everybody about how good Facebook is. I get so mumuch love from fucking Facebook.
I do now too, and I was like, who knew? So now I have a Facebook page. But yeah, it's all, if you follow me, it's not an acting or production account. It's just me. So you'll see a bunch of random things and not just acting. So as long as you don't mind that.
No, that's how you sell yourself. I swear.
My whole person, But then that's the best way to kind of keep up with what I'm doing. And I have a website too. It's rencaldwellperformance.com. And I do write a blog semi-regularly and put updates there as well. But yeah, that's the best way to kind of keep up to date with what I'm doing. I made a Facebook page for Vault, so I'll probably do the same thing for Poster. But yeah, I'm super excited about it. And then acting wise, I get to be in your film, which I'm pumped about.
Oh yeah.
That'll be a new experience. I've never done green screen work before, so I'm really looking forward to. I have no idea what that process is going to be like.
Ren, neither do I. It's going to be wild. It's going to be so much fun and crazy.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
This guy's mind, Steve's mind is an enigma.
Bro, I'm so jazzed, and I so
And it's so
appreciate.
good.
I mean, I know we talked about this before, but I so appreciate you. I mean, just reaching, being able to connect with me around it, and then also just, talking to me
You got a big
about
part in that.
writing this character.
That's a major part.
It's been fun. It's been really fun. I can't wait to do it.
Ren's got to bring the A game. You know what I mean? The A game. Because that character is a big deal. No, I read the script. It's no joke. Yeah, it's fun.
For real.
Even though Steve gave me a shit part.
Fuck you, man. I'll give it to somebody else.
I'm kidding. You know me. I always want to be like the main dude,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Aaron kept trying to hint that he would play the best man dude, and Steve was just like, nah.
He wouldn't give it to me. He wouldn't give it to me. Like,
Maybe because you typecast yourself as a man, Aaron.
Oh, damn.
No, we did talk about it at one point, and I was like, okay.
We did, and I thought I sold him. And then he was like, "Nah, you're gonna play this guy." So that's fine. You know, I got your back. I don't give a shit. I just want to see it. I want to see it, and I want to be a part of it because it's fucking fun.
It's a long series, so
I know
you'll get something else cool in it. For sure.
I love it. I'm just playing with you. You know that. Hell, you played a deputy in my fucking movie, so come on, bro. You know I got your back.
Killed by Chuck.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, and
yeah.
you might be able to see me in there you go. You might be able to see me in Dawn soon, whenever that gets released. Eric Franklin's movie.
Oh yeah. Okay,
yeah,
I can't wait to see that.
I had a really fun part in that. That was, it was one of those where it was like, do we want the mohawk? No. I auditioned with like a beanie.
Okay.
A beanie on. And I showed up and he was like, I kind of like the mohawk. And I'm like, I kind of like the hat. And he's like, let's go hat. Because I was envisioning them with the hat. But it's a really funny character. So
I can't wait to see it. No, I love Eric. He's a fun guy. He's really fun. I tried to get him in the Horrorverse, but he had to make his movie. So
I know we were so close.
Yeah, we were close, but no, that was fine. I love him. I love him to death. Okay, Ren. I could go on and on with you, and I think we all could. But
I'll come back. We'll hang out.
No, yeah, we have to because we got to talk about your stunts. We got to talk about your dance.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I want to ask you questions about why you think directing is so great as opposed to acting. I want to know that. So we got to have you back.
Okay.
So
Part two.
Part two.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for hanging
Yeah,
out with us.
thank
tonight.
you. Thanks
Thank
to everyone. It was lovely, and I really appreciated the questions and just the chance to chat about it all.
Keeps
Yeah.
your shit quick, right? Keeps your shit quick. Anyway, all right, Chuck.
Yo!
Would you like to close out around the reel today?
I have to start by saying, with Ren being our guest today, I do have to apologize to everyone because I do discriminate, and it's horrible for me to say it out loud. But Aaron made a comment earlier, and I had to point out the fact that I'm sorry. Not only do villains not only do people hate the villains in Star Wars, but those fucking Jawas steal your shit and sell it back to you. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But
No,
other
no.
than that, Ren, thank you so much for joining us down around the reel. Thank you for hanging out for a conversation about all things creative that we always enjoy doing. It was wonderful getting a chance to know you a little bit. Obviously, we'll have to have you back to talk more. And until that day, I would like to say, everyone remember, think hard, because you're thinking anyway.
We'll see everybody later.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Hey, would you like to be a guest on the Around the Reel podcast? If so, just reach out to aroundthereel253@gmail.com. That's aroundthereel253@gmail.com. And remember, keep punching, don't quit, and follow your dream.